Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Khalid. But today is the 1st of June 2023. Come to our second segment, ladies and gentlemen. That concerns the virtual SCO summit, and the emphasis is on virtual. In July, there's going to be an SCO summit that India is hosting, and this is going to be a virtual summit. Why is India hosting a virtual summit in this day and age when the threat of COVID has more or less disappeared? Are there other risks that India is considering, like China, like Pakistan, or are there other risks that we have yet to ascertain? We've been joined by Khalid Taimur Akram. He's the Executive Director of the PRCCSF, and he is in the studios to discuss that and much, much more. Thank you very much, Khalid Akram, to have joined us. India has now assumed the chair of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization for 2023. But as you very well know, it has this history of politicizing forums. We've seen what happened to SARC. We've seen what happened to FATF, G20 as well, recently as well, in the summit that was being held on tourism in the Indian Held Valley. What are your expectations? What are your prospects? What do you foresee as far as India being the head of SCO is concerned? Do you feel it is going to be a productive head, or do you feel it will show the same example as is shown in the past?
Yes, India is these days basically wearing two hats. India is also chair of the SCO, and they are also chair of the G20 also. In the past, we have seen that at any platform where Pakistan is there as a member, India has been ridiculing that platform. We have seen what has happened with the SARC. And in Shanghai Cooperation Organization, Pakistan and India, they become members at the same time in 2017. But ever since then, India has always been trying to create hurdles for Pakistan in the SCO platform. But now India has shown its clear inclination towards G20 because the SCO Head of the State Summit India has planned in this in July, and in September they have planned the Head of the State meeting of G20. So India has practically deprived the regional countries' heads for getting together because they have preferred G20 over the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And India assumed the chairmanship of Shanghai Cooperation Organization last year in September, and they will be completing their tenure in this year in September. And we have seen that India has organized very less events as far as SCO is concerned, just to keep Pakistan out of it. And secondly, we recently saw a very successful visit of our Foreign Minister, Mr. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, to India, in which he attended the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting. And while sitting in India, he had confronted India with many things, including Indian claims of labeling Pakistan as a terrorist state. And after the foreign minister's visit to India, there was a lot of backlash
Is this one of the reasons why the SCO summit is being held virtually? Because they are afraid if another Pakistan leader goes to India, that the effect will be similar, if not much more aggravated?
This is one of the reasons, but the main reason is G20. Because in G20, China and Russia are already there.
Of course.
And India wants the Chinese president and the Russian president to come to G20. And but as I said, India has deprived the regional country heads a pleasant get-together in the shape of the SCO Head of the States meeting. And it was just a surprise for all of us that all of a sudden the Indian Foreign Ministry announced the date of the virtual summit on 4th. But basically, India, this shows that India is giving more importance to G20, and India is trying to downplay Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and I'm sure that in the long run it will not go well. The Indian stance will not go well in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization.
Is it also not trying to downgrade the Shanghai spirit?
Yes, it is basically, we have seen that any regional platform in which Pakistan is playing a dominant role, India tries to downplay it. We have seen what has happened with the SARC. But we hope that this thing will not happen to SCO, because India's presidency will now come back to India maybe after 10 years, because SCO now has 8 permanent members, and 2 Iran and Belarus will become permanent members very soon. So this presidency will come back to India after 10 years. But holding this head of the state seminar conference virtual has clear-cut shown the Indian inclination more towards
intention
G20.
towards regional priorities, regional perspectives versus global perspectives.
Yes,
and we have clearly seen what it wants to, where it wants to go.
Exactly, you are right, because India wants to pose, and it is posing to the world, that now they are a global power and they do not care about the region. But the one thing they do not understand is this, that we all are the neighbors of each other. If you are not good with the neighbors, the world is not going to acknowledge this thing. And if you remember, once Mr. Modi came to power for the first time, he adopted, he said that he is going to adopt the policy of neighborhood first. But in last 7-8 years, we have seen that he has, instead of adopting the policy of neighborhood first, he has adopted to start problems with all the neighbors. India has problems with Nepal, India has problems with Sri Lanka, India has problems with China, India has problems with Pakistan. So none of the neighboring countries having borders with India are happy with India.
Now, Khalid Sahab, also, do you feel that India and multilateralism are moving slowly and steadily far apart?
Yes, it is. Because recently we have seen India try to organize a tourism conference of G20 in Indian held occupied Kashmir. And we have seen countries like Turkey and China and few other countries refusing to go there and attend that conference, which is a clear-cut manifestation that the world does not recognize Indian policies. But I am afraid that this action of India in Shanghai Cooperation Organization, I am sure it will not go well with the Chinese also, because this Shanghai Cooperation Organization is basically the initiative of China, and in which they have Russia, they have all the Central Asian countries, and now many countries of Middle East and other region are getting together in this platform. And I'm sure everybody is watching that what are they doing. As I said, that their main aim is to downplay SCO and to glorify G20, because they think that G20 is a group of those 20 countries in which India is, which is basically controlling the world economics.
But you know, Khalid Sahab, the fact remains that India is president of the G20 also for this year. What happens next year? What happens to the SCO now that it will be very apparent to the regional countries of what India's priorities are? And also, do you feel that the political stakes that India has vis-a-vis Pakistan, vis-a-vis China, are also going to pose a great obstacle in the future meetings of the SCO as well?
Yes, but we must also see that India is having their more political stakes with Western countries rather than with the regional countries. They are strategic partners with America, they are strategic partners with many European countries, they are strategic
what I wanted, the angle that I wanted to ask you about was, for example, Pakistan. India is will be going through elections in next year.
Yes.
But if, for example, it invites Pakistan and this SCO summit was not a virtual summit, and if our Prime Minister talked to the media and highlighted Pakistan's stance on important issues, that would also have a very serious backlash.
Yes, I agree on that. I agree on that. I think once the Foreign Minister and the Prime Minister of India were planning this conference, the Bilawal Bhutto's visit must be at the back of their mind, because whatever we saw on the Indian media, there was a lot of backlash on our Foreign Minister's conference, and our Foreign Minister had advocated Pakistan's stance in a very excellent way. And yes, I'm sure Indians must be worried that if in this head of the state meeting Pakistani Prime Minister goes to India, and then as everybody knows in the world that what kind of relationship we have with China, and on the sidelines of the SCO meeting, if our Prime Minister had met with the Chinese President on the Indian soil, that would have given a shock to the
That is
Indian
what India
government.
doesn't want, obviously.
That's what they don't want on their soil. That is one of the major reasons also, apart from G20, that they are afraid of the backlash from their media, because Indian media is quite strong and they criticize a lot their government, and also they have criticized the handling of our foreign minister's visit, and they even questioned their government.
That was a very strong visit and very important visit of
Yes.
our foreign minister to India, and I think it put a lot of things in the right path as far as Pakistan's perspective on issues, especially that of an illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir is concerned. Does India fear the same diplomatic response had it had normal SCO summit in the month of July as compared to what happened in Goa, and how our able foreign minister managed to handle the Indian press quite efficiently?
Actually, if this summit would have happened as planned, then media from all over the world would be focusing on this, because all the countries in this SCO, they are the SCO consists of almost 1/3 of the population of the world. We have 4 nuclear powers in SCO: Pakistan, India, China, and Russia. And then we have very important Central Asian countries part of this, and then we have our observer states. Even Azerbaijan is a observer state. Then we have China and Belarus are going to be members of SCO very soon. So with all this media hype and everything, I think it got on the nerves of the Indian government, and they decided to hold this virtual. And also they have announced a date which is 4th of July. They just gave the reaction time of almost a month, so that less media hype is created. And in virtual summit, we have seen virtual summits during the COVID time, that only the essential speeches are made for 2 to 3 minutes. There is no interaction of media, there is nothing. So I think
it is also one of the reasons that they are holding it virtually, because they don't want a reaction from the world press. They don't want the world press to ask questions from the different SCO leaders.
Yes, one reason is this also, and another reason is this, that if President Xi Jinping and Mr. Putin would have attended this summit now, then they would not come back again to India in September. But India wants to have a power show in September, that right on the Indian soil and in Indian capital, the 20 head of the states from around the world standing over there. So basically, I am sure that they must be keeping that thing in their mind and downplaying SCO. But India does not realize this thing, that if they try to downplay SCO, tomorrow the presidency will go to some other country. And
SCO is not SARC, SCO
is not SARC.
Yes.
SCO is not SARC. And tomorrow Pakistan is going to become Pakistan will have the chairmanship of SCO. So will the Indian government try to evade attendance in that summit?
Time will tell. Only time
will tell that.
But Khalid Sahab, the theme of the summit is towards a secure SCO, and I'm highlighting it because with the secure acronym is coined by the Indian Prime Minister at the 2018 SCO summit, representing security, economy, trade, connectivity, unity, respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity and environment. Do you feel that a secure SCO is possible under this current Hindutva RSS based ideology of the Indian government in power, with its vision of Akhund Bharat and all the other visions also that it has?
Not at all, because Mr. Vajpayee, Mr. Modi gave this narrative in 2018 just to basically pinpoint Pakistan, because India always blames Pakistan for cross-border terrorism. So in last couple of years we have seen that this narrative has badly failed, because none of the regional countries has bought this narrative. Coming over to keeping this theme now if this conference, India basically wants to again probably highlight the same thing, because if you see the speech of the Indian Foreign Minister at the Foreign Ministers Summit in Goa, we would find out that he, in the veiled language, he tried to blame Pakistan. And I'm sure during the speech of Mr. Modi during this forthcoming SCO summit, he would again try to link the theme with cross-border terrorism, because
but that has been the intention all along, hasn't it?
Yes, it is their intention, because they want to hide what is happening in India. Right now, I think the amount of separatist movements which are going on in India are unprecedented. In every other province of India, there is a separatist movement. They are not able to control their own people. They are not able to, whatever is happening in occupied Kashmir is in front of everybody. Whatever is happening in Assam, whatever is happening even in Delhi and Bombay, there are in Manipur, and we have seen in Ladakh also. India is at odds with China. At the Nepal border also, at the even India is at odds with a small country like Bhutan. They have developed some kind of border issues with them. So right now the internal situation of India is very bad, and we recently saw Indian Air Force penalizing their 4 officers on the accidental missile firing also, which clearly indicates that the internal systems of the Indian Armed Forces, their internal command and control system is not in their control, because otherwise they would have not given punishment to the 4 senior officers of the Air Force for the missile firing, which they had been denying in last couple of months.
Now, you know, one of the basic aims is regional peace and security of the SCO. Do you feel this virtual summit will gain any kind of ground as far as that's concerned?
No, it's going to. I think India has tried to play their cards to downplay this summit. It is just going to be virtual summit with no presence of media or anything, and it will just have, at the end of the day, it will just have a press release, and that's all. And that is what is the aim of India, is to downplay SCO, because India is not pushed about region, India is not pushed about neighborhood, and India's policy is neighborhood last policy, because they think that they are becoming a world power. They think that since they are part of G20, so they think that they do not consider smaller countries and region.
How can a country like India, I mean, of any country whatsoever, jeopardize regional security, jeopardize regional alignment or development?
They can't. They can't. As I said, that it is just this year that they have tried it, and it's good that India had their presidency before Pakistan, because this presidency of SCO has basically exposed India very badly. Now the regional countries exactly know that where does India stand, because India wants to have trade with the regional countries, they want to have good relations with the regional countries, they want to have good relations with China and Russia. But this action has basically exposed Indian intention, and also it has the regional countries now realize that where does India stands vis-a-vis its position regionally and globally, because India has shown its clear alignment with the European countries and with America.
Finally, Khalid Saab, do you feel now, I mean, this year, of course, India is heading the SCO, but starting from September, when another, country takes over, will all the countries of the SCO now openly realize India's intentions as far as being part of the SCO is concerned? And do you feel they will understand which countries to align with within the SCO and which to sideline?
Exactly. If we see the history of SCO, let's just focus on the last presidency of Uzbekistan. During their presidency, they arranged almost 20 plus big events. They arranged the conference of the defense ministers, foreign ministers, culture ministers, think tanks, exchange programs, and it was a complete happening here.
Exactly.
And let's see the Indian presidency, ever since they have taken over their presidency since September 2022, there have been hardly any meetings. There was one meeting of the defense ministers, which was again virtual. Then the foreign minister meeting they had, and then
which backfired on them.
Which backfired on them, and now they're having this virtual meeting. So India has, as I said before, that they're having, they're enjoying the G20 presidentship, and every month they are inviting the G20 members to their country and having so many conferences. So it has given a very clear picture to the regional countries, and I'm sure in times to come, once the regional countries will be dealing with India, they will keep this thing in mind, that what India did to this regional platform in their 1 year of presidency.
We already have the history of India as being part of SAARC and how it jeopardized SAARC as well. And I think China and Russia are two countries that understand this very well. Thank you so very much, Khalid Taimur Akram Saab, Executive Director of PRCCSF, to have joined us and to have talked to us about this virtual summit of the SCO that is going to be held on the 4th of July, also the Independence Day of the United States of America. And it's going to be held virtually. Let's see how things go along. But of course, as you yourself have said, not much expectations need to be put as far as this summit is concerned. Yes, with that, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with new story segments pertaining to us, you and Pakistan. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.